Hi, I'm Don, and this is The Hobbyist Geek. Welcome back, y'all. Today we're going to be doing my second marble run from ROKR, and I'm really excited. This is the Future City. Now this one's going to be a little bit unique because while the Future City here can be done as a standalone piece, it is also a companion piece to the last city marble run we did in a previous video. These have 4 different configurations. They call them A, B, C, and D. We'll be doing the B configuration today so that we can match it with the last city that we did last time and run them both simultaneously. I can't wait. This should be awesome. So let's bring you in. We'll take a look at the packaging and see what comes inside. Alrighty, y'all. So here is the packaging we get for the Future City Marble Run. And it looks like we've got the same basic premise. We've got that wonderful modular box. We've got a lift, which should not be necessary for this configuration, and I'll get into that a bit later. And we've got all of the various paths the marbles can take. Up top, this actually looks fairly similar. The go here looks very similar to the fan assembly we have in the last city, but these crossed bridges here, that's new. I'm looking forward to assembling that. And look at that thing. That looks awesome. We've got this nice little swirl down here. This looks like it's going to be a really fun build. I can't wait. These are big boxes, just so you know, and as you can see, you can do a configuration of 4. Now, at present, ROKR only has the 2 different types. So this is basically the Future City here and the Future City here, and the last city here and the last city here. I have no intention of buying duplicates of these pieces in order to make a taller structure like this. But if ROKR comes out with 2 more, you can bet we're going to be doing them. Couple of little product images of what we're going to see as we're building. That looks great. And here are the various configurations. This is what we're going for today. All right, let's get this cellophane off and see what we got inside. All right, much like before, we've got our instruction book, and you can see the various configuration differences already displayed there. That's great. These are really easy pieces that you can just do in a couple of hours, by the way. So if you're looking for just a nice little afternoon project, highly recommend it. We got our parts list. This is kind of important to note. The parts on here do not list the parts on the sprues. I discovered that in the last one. These are only the parts that are loose in bags, not the parts on the sprues. So there is that. Here's our backings. Quite nice. The door to protect it. Here's the backing, our first sprue here. Look at that beauty. All right, yeah, a couple of these. For some reason, I can't remember where this one went. Oh yeah, this was at the top. This was near the top to hold the very first bridge. And then this was also at the top as kind of a display that goes right behind it, which is really cool. And we've got our sprues, all listed by letter. So we've got our A, B, C, and so on and so forth. And just look at the detail on these. Okay, I love that black and red with the details on there. That is just gorgeous. Okay. And here are a whole mess of other parts. These are the loose and bag ones that the parts list will cover. Some more bag end there. All right, nice little clear plastic thing. That looks cool. Can't wait to see where we use it. Oh, look. Looks like the parts of that little bridge. That looks cool. All right, here's our, D, E, and F. Ooh, look at that. Look at that beautiful purple. That is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And of course, these. Now these, if I remember correctly, are for the cable management once we've got everything done and we start with the wiring. And here is the casing that everything will go into. Quite small, but quite nice. Over here, we've got our electronics and our tools. This does come with everything you'll need to assemble. This is for cutting pieces off the sprue if you don't already have something. And various screws and pins and things like that. We've got some electronics and lights. Our main circuit board, which looks remarkably similar, if not identical. No, it is not identical, but it is very similar to the last one. This has 9 ports, whereas the other one only, 10 ports, and the other one only had 8, as I recall. So we should have more lights this time around, which is awesome. More screws, our marbles, more screws. Now this is a little magnetic tool. I still have mine from the first time we did this, and a screwdriver if you don't already have one. Now this we did not use last time. I have a feeling this is going to be used to connect the 2 pieces so that you get one power source to power both assemblies. I have a feeling we're going to need this time around. Won't need the tools. Now this is actually where we have our lift, and we're not actually going to be building a new lift. If you do want to check out how to build the lift in its entirety, you can check out the last city build, which should already be up. All right, let me get this thing organized. We'll cut out some parts and get started on this build. All right, let's get this thing started, shall we? We have our casing, and you can see we've got the main area here, and there's this little clear area with no main holes here at the top. That is exactly what this is. This is the top. We're going to take part P2 here out of bag 1B and make sure that this hole that is shaped like a keyhole is on the left side, okay? And the cable here is facing down. What we're going to do at the very back, it's kind of hard to see, maybe you can see my finger poking through there. There's a hole in the back of that. That is where this cable is going to go. So let's get that strung through. All right, and as you pull it tight, there are 2 posts here that the holes on the edges will go on. Again, making sure that the one that's shaped like a keyhole goes on the left. And once you've got them in place, just like that, we have 2 of these little black screws. These are P15 screws that come out of bag 2, and they'll go into the holes on either side to hold it in place. Look at that. And make sure you pull any slack remaining through that hole. And now we can take part G here. And there are actually some letters on there to help you clarify which side is up and down, and that's basically just going to slide on top of all of it. So I'm just going to slide that thing in and push it till it's tight. Just like that. How awesome is that? All right, now we're going to take our backing here. This is G1. We're just going to lay that down in here, just like that. And then in these 2 holes here, we're going to be putting M1 in place. Get that nice little arrow showing what's pointing down. And then it'll just pop right in, just like that right there. Nice. All right, next we're going to be putting these little guides in. And if you take a look at the shape, I hope this is showing up on camera, there are little divots here. That is going to help hold in the remaining backing pieces. These are keyed, so they have to go in the right space. We have H14, 15, 16, and 17, and they are going to go H14, 15, 16, and 17. Make sure not to confuse the very large holes here with the very small holes. These small holes are where those guides are going to go from the inside. So let's go ahead and get those things plugged in, and we'll show you what it looks like. And take a look at that if you can. They're very hard to see being, black pieces on a black background, but they are in there ready to rock and roll. Incredible. All right, let's see what's next. All right, next up we're going to be installing the power switch. So we're going to flip this up so you're looking at the bottom of the piece. And over here there are two tiny little posts, and we have part P10 here, which it comes out of bag 1B, and with this little metal switch in the middle, the bend needs to be facing upwards, and we'll just slide this in. So those two holes on either side will slide into those pins. There we go, just like that. Now with that in place, we can take this. This is part H9, and you'll notice on the back side there's a little slot. This cable needs to come out of that little slot. And these two big holes will go over these two screw posts. So let's get this thing lined up and in. And it pretty much just melded itself in position right off the bat with no effort from me. So I am not going to argue that. We're going to use two more of these P15 screws to hold it in place. It should look like that when you're done. Now we've got a little hole right here, and that is where this cable is going to go through. But before it gets to the hole, there are 4 clips, and we're going to clip that cable into all 4 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and get that end in, and then we will just clip these things in by pushing. Just a little pressure is enough. And look at that. That looks beautiful. And then we're going to finish off the switch by taking this little copper piece. This is P14, and it comes out of bag 2. And we're just going to slot it in here and push it all the way in. Just like that. And now our power switch is complete. Awesome. Alrighty, next up we got some fun. We have G3 and G4 here. These are the sidings. They're going to slide in here. There are these little gaps in the pieces that we've already put that will act as a template on where to slide this in. However, we got something a little different that we didn't do the last time around. We've also got these. These are P16. These come out of bag 2. They're basically double-sided tape stickers. And what we're going to want to do here on the long edge on the back side, okay, we're going to take 2 of them and we're just going to put them in at nice, relatively even intervals. And line it up, try to line it up with this hole here. Well, nah, you can line it up closer to the edge. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to stick those in. Kind of like that. And then we'll peel the film off of these, stick it in, and attach it to the side of the box. Not sure how I feel about these. The whole point of this is to make it modular, and when you're sticking stuff in like this, it's not modular anymore. But yeah, the film is just the orange part. I don't know if that's showing up on camera, but the sticker is still there. And we'll do this on this side and then again for the other. So let me go ahead and get that done. All right, should look like that when you've got them in. And now we have H12 and H13, and those are gonna go into the 2 big holes here and here. 12 for left, 13 for right. And there we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Let's see what's next. All right, next up we have B7 here, and we have L1. And there are 2 posts on the bottom of L1, 2 holes here. We're just going to press them together. Look at that. And this whole assembly is going to go into these 3 holes. Excuse me, these 3 holes right there. Just like that. Look at that. Okay, this is going to be a nice, fun one here. We're going to take P3 here. This comes out of the 1B bag. It has the blue, black, and white cables. And this is going to slot into A3. Now notice that A3 has a slot here. That's where the cable is going to come out. This red semicircle will be on top. And this hole in the LED circuit is going to go into on top of that little hole right there. And what we're going to want to do is take a P17 that is one of these very little silver screws. I don't know if you can see that. It keeps falling between my fingers. Let's see if that helps. You got one of those little silver screws. P17, they come out of bag 3. We're just going to screw it in here to hold it in place. Just like that. Now this assembly is just going to peg right on top of M2 here. Make sure that the cable is coming out of the back where these posts are. Look at that. And now we're going to take F4 here, and that's going to slot into the front. Make sure the word go is facing the correct direction. There we go. Look at that. Next up, there is a little pinhole right there on the inside, and we're going to take P11. This is the very thin 17 millimeter post that comes out of bag 2. We're just going to push that in right there. All right, look at that. Now we're going to add C9 here, and it will go just like this, right there. So it can rotate both ways. Okay? We're going to cover it up with A5 here. And now we have a nice little assembly that looks just like this. We'll bring this back out. And we've got these 3 holes right here. This top hole, that is where the cable is going to go through. And the other 2 are to attach the assembly to your base plate. And there we go. We've got our cable coming out. Our posts are all lined up. And look at that puppy, sitting pretty. Okay, for our next assembly, we're going to take part A11 here. And you'll notice there are 2 posts on the back, 2 big ones. And on the front side, there is a hole here and a little kind of a post with a hole right there. In that center hole, we are going to put P12. This is the medium length post that comes out of bag 2. It is 20 millimeters long. So once we've got that pushed all the way in like that, we're going to take N1. N1 has a hollow. That hollow will go towards this back plate here. Okay. And now we're going to cover that up with C6 and finish it off with D10. So it should look like this when you're done. This can move freely, though I don't know that it will in motion, but it can, and you're good. That's fine. Not going to hurt anything. And we will bring this back out, and it will plug in to these 2 holes right there. Just like that. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, for our next assembly, we will take C11 here. And it's got a little, well, it's got 2 posts on one side and 1 post on the other. For the side that's got the single post, it's got a hole in it, and we will fit P13 into it. That is the final bar from bag 2. It is 23 millimeters long. Just like that. And with that in place, we will take D9. We're going to slide it on so that the post is facing outward. Just like that. Now we've got B17 here, and it does have a little tab on it. That tab will fit into the slot here on D9, just like that. So they turn together, and we will cover it up with C14. Nice and neat. Now these 2 posts here will go into these 2 holes right there. Look at that. Okay, next up is another nice easy piece. We have C3 here, and we have L2. L2 has these 2 little posts. C3 has 2 holes. We're just going to push them together, just like that. And that's going to come in, and it's going to plug in to these 5 holes. Just like that. Look at that. Wonderful. Okay, for our next assembly, we have B10 here. Beautiful piece. And we have P4, which comes out of bag 1B. This has the, I don't know, teal or green or whatever you want to call it, wire coming out of it. And what we're going to want to do is put it through that hole there, and there's a tiny, tiny little hole right there. And on this, there's that hole right there. So we're going to want to line those up. And with this fully in, we're going to use another P17 silver screw out of bag 3 right through that hole to hold it in place. Just like that. Now we're going to take F1 here, and with the arrow pointed down, we're just going to pop this thing on. There are 2 pegs here, and there are 2 holes on the back, so it should just slide right in. Just like that. Now if you look on the back, there is a slot in this post here, and you want to make sure that the cable goes in that slot. So use some tweezers or your screwdriver or whatever your preferred method is. But make sure that cable gets in there entirely. And with that in place, what we're going to want to do is we're going to plug it into these 2 holes right here. Wait, no, that's not right. These two holes right here. My apologies. And the cable itself is going to go through the left hole. There we go. So you can see the cable coming right out of the post there, and we've got our assembly right there. Very nice. All right, this next one's very, very easy. We've got C13 here. There are no additions or other parts. 2 posts here, and that's going to go into these top 2 holes right there. Just like that. All right, next up, we have M3. If you take a look inside, you can see a slot here and another one on the other side. And what we're going to want to do is take P5 here, which came out of the 1B pack, and notice that this has a flat edge on one side and the other is more, I don't know, deep. And you've got these wonderful etched designs right here. This is the bottom, okay? So make sure that you're holding it in the proper orientation. And when you slide this in, make sure these LEDs are facing upwards. So we're just going to slide this in right through those slots, all the way in just like that. And then we have F5 here, which will go onto these 2 holes. There are 2 posts to match up, and it should slide in to hold it all in place, just like that. I'm going to bring this back out again, and it's these 3 holes here with the cable going through the center hole, just like that. Look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Alrighty, for this next part, we're going to need C10. Notice that these are a little off center. They should be lower, and this will be the bottom. Okay, you've also got this little half shelf here. That is going to be towards the top. So make sure you have this oriented properly. We've got E2, and that will just slide right on top like that. And we've got D4 to cover up the top here. Just like that. Now we've got N2. Yes, I know it says 3 on it, but this is N2. And that's going to come in, and there are 2, on this side, there are 2 posts that'll go in two of the holes here. And once it's in, you can see we've got two more holes, and we're going to put two more of those silver P17 screws in there. All right, look at that. Now on that little peg right there, we have B15, and it is keyed, so it will only go one way. We're just going to push it on, friction fit. And we have these two big posts here, and those will go into these two holes right there. Just like that. Excellent. Alrighty, for this next assembly, you're going to need N3 here. Notice these two posts, those are on the bottom. So this will be the bottom of the assembly. We're going to need P6. This comes out of that 1B package. And if you look real close, this says LED 2, this says LED 1. Okay, LED 1, which is like an orange one, that'll go on the bottom. So we'll slide this in. And this little post right here will go into this hole. Just like that. And in the other one, we need another P17 silver screw. All right, look at that. Now we are going to take A10 and F2. And on the back side of A10, you'll be able to see there is a little hole right here, a little slot, and that is for that little tab right there. So we're just going to slide it in just like this. Nice little push fit, and then it will go onto here. Make sure fall is legible. It's not upside down. There are a bunch of posts on the corners that'll slot into holes on the back of A10, just like that. And to finish it off, we have E7. Now be careful, don't put your fingers on this or press this, okay? Press on the back side, and that's going to go onto these two posts. So it looks like that when you're done. On the back side, again, we've got a little slot in this post. So let's make sure our cable goes in there. There we go. Bringing this back out. This will go into these two holes, with the left lower hole being where the cable comes out. Absolutely perfect. Look at that. All right. Alrighty, for our next assembly, we have B18. Look at that. And we're going to spruce it up with C4. It's going to go onto these pegs here. There's a large hole and a small hole and a large post and a small post. So you really can't get this one on wrong. Look at that. Now we've got 3 holes here. And what do you know? We have 3 posts. This is B11. And that will go right in those 3 holes. Be gentle with this one. It is thin and feels fragile. All right. Now that we've got those in, there are 2 posts here and there are 2 holes here. This is D3, and that will go on just like this. And you're going to want to make sure that you push it all the way in. So these should be pretty much flush whenever you're done. Excellent. Now this is going to come back out. These 2 posts will go into these 2 holes here on our Go assembly. these two posts will go into these two holes right here. Just like that. Awesome. Alright, next up is very simple. No assembly here, just part A13. It's got two widespread posts and two close-knit posts. The close-knit posts will go into these two holes right here, and it's really not even going to fit any other way. So we'll just push that puppy in, and there it is. Okay, a nice easy assembly coming up. Another one. We have N4. There's two posts on the front. These are, one's large, one's small. And we have B3, and again, a large hole and a small hole. We'll just push fit them together. Beautiful. Now you'll notice these two posts here. This is L3. And there are two little holes right there. There's also a little tab that will go into that slot there on N4. And we just push fit those till it's nice and even. And now we're going to bring this back out again. All right, so these two posts are going to go way up here, whereas these two will go in the assembly, or the piece we just put into the A13 piece. So let's just push those in. Look at that. Incredible. Alrighty, we got some pieces for a big and beautiful assembly. This should be fun. Alright, we got L4 here. We got three posts on the bottom. And we have E9 here. And what we're going to do is these two holes and this hole. There we go. Make sure you get it in there nice and tight. And then we're going to cap it off with E3 here. There are two posts here, two holes here. Pretty easy to figure out where that goes. Just like that. All right. Important to note, this little lip here could be a stopping point for your marbles. So make sure that you've got L4 here pushed in all the way. All right, with that done, we have B4, and one side has two little holes right here, and we have C5. One side has three posts, the other only has two. So we'll take the side that's got two, and that'll go into those two holes. Just like that. These three will go into the three holes right here. Just like that. Beautiful. Now we're going to take Q1 here. And what a beautiful piece that is. I'm going to start with B16. And it's got a single post here. And that post should go, yeah, when you're holding it in the correct direction, into that little hole right there. Just like that. Now we have C15, and that will go into these two holes here. Just like that. And E5. And that will go into these two little holes over here. And to top it off, we're going to take the assembly we just built and we're going to plug it in to these holes here, and there's two little holes right there for the bottom of these posts. And this is what you should have when you're done. Notice there are four big posts on the back. We'll bring this puppy out here, and those will plug into these four holes there. And look at that. We now have our crossed bridges. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Next up, simple enough. We have C7 here. It's got these two posts. It'll go into these two holes right there. Make sure this little curve here is facing upwards. Just like that. It does have a little arrow here. That arrow should be facing, or I should say pointing down. Alrighty, for this next bit, we have A1. If you look real close, there are two little slots right there. And we have two tabs right here. This is M4, that will just slide right in. All right, be careful with this one. This feels fragile, but that is a tight fit. But that is what it'll look like when you're done. And on the bottom, you've got two big posts and a very little tiny post right there. This is B9. Now, if you look over here, you see you've got these three hollows surrounding the holes. That is the underside. You want to make sure it is on this side where you have the two big holes and the little hole there. That'll line up with these. We'll just push them together, just like that. Now we've got the two big posts on the back. We'll bring this out, and those will go into these two holes here. And it should look like that when it's done. Beautiful. Okay, for this next assembly, we have B12 here and B14. Now with B14, you'll notice right here there's a tab, and on B12 you'll notice there's a little slot right there. So just slide it in so that tab goes into that slot. You should have an assembly that looks like this. Now we're going to flip it around here, and we have, this is P7. It's got the purple and white wires, and if we bring it out just a little bit, should slot in, yeah. Make sure these posts are facing left, and we'll slide this in. Actually, if you take a real close look, there are some tabs in there, and on this there are some little slots right there. Make sure also that the LEDs are facing in this time, because this is the back of the assembly. There we go, something like that. And on the right hand side, you'll see a little round slot going into a screw hole. We'll use another silver P17 screw to hold it in place. Just like that. Now this post here has another one of those slots for the cables, so let's make sure the cables go through it. Alright. That should be good enough for this. And we will bring this back out, and it's going to go into these two holes right here, with the top one being where the cable goes through. Alright, should look like that when you're done with the cable coming right through the post. Awesome. Alright, for this next section, we're going to take this G2 piece, and we're going to slide it in here, make sure it gets into the slots on either side, just like that. And we have M5, and that will go into this hole right here, and there's another tab that should go into this hole here. Just like that. Perfect. Okay, for this next section, we're going to do a little bit of a deviation from your normal standalone because we are doing the B assembly. Basically, we're going to take D2 here, and we have D6, which has this little arrow. We're going to push it in here, just like that. Now, if we were doing the A, we would use D1, and it would actually be going the other direction. Now, for this, we're going to be plugging it in to, these two holes here, so that it lines up with that exit hole, just like that. Were we doing the standard A configuration, it would go the other way and in through this to this exit hole. So that is the difference for this configuration. All right, next up, we're going to take this piece right here. This is D7. Orientation is very important here. Notice this large lip that must be facing outwards. And we are going to place it in here on these two holes there. Just like that. All right, this next one is another little bit of a deviation. We're going to be using part C12 here, and that's so the ball will exit to the right. If you were doing an A configuration, you'll use C1 where the ball would exit to the left, but this is good for us. And in either case, it'll plug into these two holes right there. Just like that. All right, next up is nice and easy. We have B2 here, and that will plug into these two holes right there. Just like that. All right, next up, we have M6 here, and we have E1, our future city logo, and that will plug in just like so. Look at that. And these are going to plug into these two holes here. Just like that. Next up, we've got M7 here. Notice the little red stripe. That indicates that this is the front of the piece. And that will plug into these two holes right there. Just like that. Gorgeous. Alrighty, we have us a nice big assembly coming up here. This is going to be awesome. Okay, we're going to kick things off with C2 here. And we're going to have to hold it in this orientation with the two big posts facing left. And we have P8, which comes out of bag 1B. Make sure the LEDs are facing the bottom here, like this, so the wires are coming out through the back, just like this. We've got that little cutout corner. That'll match that little cutout corner. And we'll just set this thing in. And that little hole should line up with the screw base beneath it, and we will need another P17 silver screw to hold it in place. Look at that. Gorgeous. All right, now we're going to come around to the front, and we have F3. It's only got one rounded corner, so it's pretty easy to figure out which way this goes. Just slides right in. Great. Make sure it's flush. Okay. Then we're going to move over to this. This is L5. And we've got D11 here. There are two posts here. Those are going to be in the outer two holes here. It's going to basically fill in this curve. Again, we've got a little lip here that could potentially stop the balls, so make sure that you get this all the way down. Okay, with that in place, we're going to take L6 here, and that's effectively going to clip. You can see these little bumps on the side of the slide here on either side, and there are little holes on the sides of this for those to go in, and we'll just fit that in just like that. Look at that. Now we'll take B6. It'll go onto these two posts here. The posts are keyed again, large and small, so shouldn't be able to get that wrong. All of this is going to sit on top of E4 here. Notice we've got another ROKR label, so that will help you determine direction. These two posts, those two holes. Just like that. Now we're going to take L7, and there are two tabs right here that will slide into those slots. Nice and tight, just like that. And now we'll take this assembly that we built before, and that's going to go onto these four posts right there. Just like that. Gorgeous. Now we've got 6 posts here and the cable. We'll bring this out, and it's going to go into these 7 holes here, with this standalone hole right there being the one the cable goes through. So let's go ahead and just push this thing in. All right. Look at that. All right, look at this. What a lot of parts for what I'm sure will be an excellent assembly. We're going to kick things off with A14 here. And we're going to take P9, and we're going to slide it in. Make sure the cable goes through this hole here, just like this. And you'll notice there are these little posts here, as well as 2 tabs here to help make sure you've guided it properly. And in these 2 holes, you're going to want to put in more of those P17 screws. Should look like that. Very nice. Then we're going to cover it all up with D5 here, which does have 3 posts to go into those 3 holes. Just like that. Now for the next bit, these are R6, and there's 5 of them. These, however, are slightly different. This is R1 through 5. I'm not sure which is which as far as the numbers are concerned, but I can tell you the difference is what's written here. Okay, so starting from right to left, this says jump space. This can be identified because it's got this little icon right here. This is a number that starts with the number 1. This one starts with number 2, and this one starts with a number 3. So make sure you've got the order correct. And what you're going to want to do is, you can see there's 4 slots here. There are 4 tabs on this. It will slide right in. just like that. Now this is important. You want to make sure it's nice and tight, because when you bring this out, you'll notice that the white section has posts and the pink section has these tabs here. Obviously we've got holes, square holes and round holes, and you're going to want to put them in. Ooh, this is going to be fun. Like this. There we go. Just like that. Of course, you want to be very careful as you do it, and then we'll do it 4 more times. And there you go. Look at that. That looks amazing. All right. Now, with this in place, what we're going to want to do is take A7 here, and we're going to pop it in right here, just like that. A8 will go over here, just like this. Now we'll take N5, and that should go into this post and that big hole over there. Just like that. We have A4, which will go into that square hole there. Like that. Now we've got B1, and this is going to slide through there and attach on that post there and over here as well. Just like that. Now we've got E8, which will cover this area here. All right, just like that. And C8 here, and that will go onto these 2 posts there. There are 2 holes there, so that'll go just like that. All right, and then we have C16 here, which has 2 little holes there, and there are 2 posts there for it to go into. Just like that. And with all of that said and done, we're going to bring this out, and that's going to go through all of these holes here, with this one in the center, this lone one in the center, being where the cable comes out. So let's get that lined up and pushed in. Oh yeah, and when you're pushing it in, make sure you're only pushing on the bridge here. Don't push on the rest of this stuff. All right, look at that. Absolutely amazing. I love it. All right, for this next section, we're going to once again deviate from the A instructions because we are building B, but if you are building A, you will need exactly the same pieces. So first off, we're going to start with B13 here. There's a little lip here on one side. That is the front. We have D8 here. Now for the B configuration, I'm going to put this on the left of the plate. If you're doing A, it'll go on the right. From here, we've got B5, which looks beautiful, by the way. I really like that. And that will just plug right in here, just like that. From here, we will go to A2, and this will sit on top, just like that. Now, we're going to take K here, and the large marble holes here will be facing the rear. For this, we're going to take all the rest of these pieces and we're going to reverse. So with what we've just assembled, it will go on the right for me. If you're doing the A, it would go on the left. Now we've got A6 here, and that will, for me, go on the left. If you're doing the A configuration, it will be the right. And we're going to follow that up with M8 right here, and this is N6 right here. And it looks like I forgot a piece, and that would be A9. So we'll just cut that puppy out, and that'll go right here. We'll follow that up with A12 here, and that'll go into these 4 holes. Just like that. And like I said, if you're doing the A configuration, you're just going to reverse all these pieces. And then we will pull this back out, and this will slide right into these slots here. Gorgeous. Look at that. All right. Next up, we're going to take B8 here, and you'll notice this has like a little hook on it. That hook is going to go, it's really hard to show you. There's a little bar sticking out right here, and you need to hook this on that bar. Now, gravity will help, but you can see it is hooked on that bar now. Here. So it looks like that when it's done. And then we're going to take E6 here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to hook it on this bar right here. I hope I can do this with one hand. Just like that. Awesome. And at this point, it's time to test. So for my case, I'll be having the marbles enter from here, and they should exit from here with no issues whatsoever. Now my table here is not level, so you can see it rotates like this. So I'm going to have to take this to another location. I'll run some tests, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, for this next step, we're going to be adding the door. So first thing to do is you got to take off the film, of course. Alright, so now we have our door, and you can see there's a little handle here. You want to make sure this is facing upwards when you're looking at it. There's a little pin up here that will go into, let's see if I can show it to you, this little hole right here. And on the bottom, there's actually a big slot. You can probably see it better here. Big slot here. And there's another pin on the bottom of the door that will go in there. So you want to do the top one first into that hole at an angle, just like this, and then you'll slide the rest of it into place. Just like that. And now that the door is in place, we're going to come up to the top here. We have part H10 here, and that is going to slide right in there. There's this little bit right here, little hole, that's for a tiny pin there, and the big hole will go over the big pin. And right there, we're going to put in a P15 black screw out of pack 2. There you go, nice and tight. And now our door is in place and can be opened and closed at will. How cool is that? All right, now we're going to wire this thing up. We're going to take our P1 circuit board here, which comes out of the 1A pack. And you may notice there are 3 holes here and 1 here. So a total of 4 holes on the circuit board. Those are going to line up with these 3 screw bases here. And then there's a pin right here which will go in the center hole in the upper row. Now, you can screw this in place, and we'll be using P17 silver screws in those 3 remaining holes to do so, but I find it easier to connect all the cables first, and then we'll put the circuit board in. So, with the circuit board out, we're going to go with the power cable. That is the one coming up from the bottom, and that will go into port 1 here. All right. Now this orange and white wire right here, that will go into port 2. Okay. 3 is actually the one, the blue and white wire that comes from the top, and that'll go into port 3 here. All right. This green wire right here, that will go into port 4. All right, looks like this purple wire coming out right here is going to go into port 5. All right, this green wire here, that's going to go into port 6. All right, this kind of light brown wire coming out of here will go into port 7. And this blue wire from all the way up here is going to go into port 8. And finally, this brown wire, dark brown wire from right here is going to go into port 9. All right, and with all the cables in place, we'll go ahead and place this down and get those screws in. Look at that, beautiful. Alrighty, now we're going to need 7 of these X1 pieces, and we're going to do some cable management. So we're going to kick things off with the blue wire here, and we're going to bring this over right down this path here till it is 4 in. Bring it down, and right here we will put in our first cable management blocker. Now you actually get 10 of these, so if you want to do a little extra or whatever, totally up to you. Now we're going to come down, and these 2 cables here are going to join it, just like this. We're gonna plug this thing in here. Just like that to hold it in place. Beautiful. All right. And we're gonna bring these down the rest of the way. And right here, we'll get another one. Look at how pretty that is. All right. Now moving up here, we're going to bring this cable here down and over. Looks like they want it here for some reason, but we'll bring it over and then down here. And this cable here will join it. So it should look something like this, and we'll get another one of these in. Just like that. And they'll keep coming down. And we'll get another one in here. Keep on coming. Straight down that path. And another one right here. And for our final one, that would be this puppy right here. Basically, it's just going to come in like that. I wonder if there's room. Yeah, it does look like there is room. So I'm going to go ahead and do that too for this blue one, since we have enough slack and I want to keep it organized as well. So that should come in here. And look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right. Now, if you were doing an A assembly, you would want to build your lift right now, and it would come in through this little hole right here, over here, and then it will plug into port 10. But we're not going to be doing that for this assembly, for the B assembly. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take panel I here. We're just going to set it on top, making sure those USB connectors go through, just like that. And there are 4 holes for screws. We will be using the P18 larger black screws that come out of the X1 bag. And would you look at that? Nice and neat. And this thing is ready for connecting. But before we do, we got one more thing we got to do. All right, here is the last city build we did in the previous videos. And we've got to convert this lift into a lift C. Right now, the marbles will only come out to the right. We need it to go both ways. So what we're going to do to convert it, we're going to flip it over. There's a screw up here. We're going to take that out. And then we will pull this panel off. If I can, there we go. All right, and now we want to pull this little piece right here out. You may need to use a screwdriver or tweezers or something to unlock it. All right. Whew, that took a while to get off, but as you can see, this is the one that's got the little tab here, and this one does not. So this will allow the ball to go either way. As you can also see, I had to pull this entire assembly out in order to get it off, but it's off now. This is on. Nice. We'll just slide this right back in where we found it. Just like that. And we will replace the backing and the screw. There you go. this is ready for the next step. Alright, this should be fairly easy. We are still working on the last city model here. And there's a tiny little H8 piece right here, and we're going to want to push that up and out. Just like that. And we've got another one on the bottom that we'll want to do the same to. Alright, with those out, we also want to take these H pieces out of the corners, just like that. Now, we're going to bring out the future city that we've just built, and we're going to pair it up just like this. And we have two N7s that'll go in the top and bottom to help hold that in place. And we have two more of these H6s here. And those will go into these holes here and the other set on the bottom. Just like that. And then on the ends here, we'll take the pieces that we removed and we will just slide those into these corners and slots. And there you go. With that done, our future city and last city assembly is complete. Now, if you want to have power to both sides, you're going to want to use the USB cable. And you're going to want to connect these two pieces. So this here should connect to this right here, and tidy up the cable however you feel appropriate, and then we can plug in some power and test this thing out. And here it is, the Future City Marble Run from ROKR, fully assembled and looking absolutely spectacular. Look at this thing go! This is awesome! And of course, it is paired with the ROKR Last City piece. So these two together are just amazing. I absolutely love it. I hope you enjoyed this build as much as I did. If you did, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.